So let's kind of start with the basics. Tell us your name, age, where you're from, anything you're willing to give. You know,
My name's Cody. I'm 45. I'm born and raised in Northwest Montana. Currently live in Ohio.
got you. What was life like growing up for you before you joined the military? Did you have anyone from your family that were in the service?
Uh, yeah, my grandfather was in Vietnam in the Navy. My uncle was in the Marine Corps. My aunt retired from the Air Force. And then out of my cousins, I was the oldest. I was the first one to join. And then I have a cousin that just retired from the Air Force. I have a cousin in the Army. So,
Big
yeah.
military.
Yeah.
I got you. Um, what specifically made you join the Navy?
The Navy, in particular, probably my grandpa. He was a bosun's mate in the Navy back in Vietnam. Just his stories, and I kind of looked into it. And again, I joined in '99, so we weren't in any conflict or anything at that time. So I wasn't looking like, I wasn't a post 9/11 person that jumped in. I was already in during that time. Uh, I joined the Navy because I wanted to see the world, and I've seen the world, and I loved it.
Easy to do in the Navy, isn't it?
Oh yes, I did 22 countries.
Nice. I only got to six. My whole last one was COVID, so no ports. Came out of Norfolk, was gone 206 days consecutively and called back in.
Yeah, my first deployment was in South and Central America, so I saw some cool stuff.
Yeah. What was your first duty station?
My first was Comnav Surflant in Norfolk on the Sinklant Fleet compound. I was attached to a 3-star admiral there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot. I learned a lot. Being brand new to the Navy and going and picking up big wigs all over the place and doing all that stuff, and
Right. Probably a little overwhelming when you first get in there.
it was. I have coins from like everywhere.
So you were a yeoman,
Yes.
first class. What did the typical day look like? It doesn't have to be your first command. Just uh, wherever you were, wherever in the rank structure you stuck out the longest. What did a typical day look like for you?
Oh, once you kind of got a little up there, a little higher, like E4 and above, it changed. Like as an E1 to E3, obviously, you don't have a whole lot of responsibility being a yeoman because there's really not a lot that we're ready for yet. But again, like during my first command being at Surflant, when the coal got hit, I had to do the message traffic Keiko for like the missing and then the deceased. And that was a lot. I was really young. I was really young. And the craziest part about it was my first duty station wasn't even supposed to be that command. I was supposed to go to the Pentagon, and my orders got canceled because the girl that I was replacing got pregnant, so she didn't need to leave, and I stayed. So went somewhere else, which was another aha moment because again I was at Surflet when 9/11 happened, and that whole like holy shit I should have been there and not here moment was a lot. Like when I went to the Fife, I was on a destroyer. I just worked in regular admin there, but I did take care of the CO of the ship, did a lot of his stuff. And then when I went to Carrier Strike Group 3, where I was attached to the admiral on the strike group, that's where things got heavier. I was in charge of a lot of things. I took care of the chief of staff and the admiral and did all their day-to-day stuff, correspondence, notices, sitting in meetings, taking notes. I ran $1 million travel budget every year that I had to maintain, and if I didn't use it, I lose it. So at the end of the fiscal year, I'd be like, "Hey, anybody need to travel? We need to get this money spent so I can get the same amount back." It was just pretty much, I guess, like being an executive assistant in the real world, but not in the real world. Yeah.
What was your most memorable moment? It can be good or bad.
My
Like,
most memorable moment, probably on my first deployment when we were doing CD ops. We had a Coast Guard lead out on board, and we were busting white powder runners. and one lit themselves on fire, and we were trying to get the product onto the ship so we could arrest them. And one was melted on the bottom, and it hit the side of the ship and exploded in our face.
Yeah, that's always a good time.
Yeah, when it's pure, never left. Yeah, that was something. That's something I'll never forget. And then it was just they locked us in medical and gave us IVs, and we had our own little party.
That's the only treatment for it. What was the hardest part of military life for you personally?
Being a mother, leaving my kids.
Separation.
I left on my first deployment when my oldest was 5 months old. I missed her first birthday. This is that kind of stuff, you know. I mean, I know it's the same for like men in the military struggle with that too. But as a mom, that was hard. Every time I had to leave my kids.
I understand that. Separation's typically the first thing I get in these interviews. So
Yeah.
that's another part of the course. I'll put the time mark on.
You know,
In your opinion, what's one thing civilians don't and will never be able to understand about
I
this?
didn't hear you.
I said, in your opinion, what is one thing that civilians don't and won't ever be able to understand about the NSA?
The end of it cut off. About being in what?
In your opinion, what is one thing that civilians don't and can't understand about being in the service?
This is where I struggle the most. Is we're very regimented people. I don't know, like even at work, like I manage an auto spa, and I'm very particular on timelines. Like, okay, this, and this, and then they don't understand that part, like where they tear you down, build you back up, and now it's the same thing every day. Like I live my life very regimented. It's the same thing every time, every day, and then sometimes the lingo, expectations. Like I'm sure anybody who has gotten out and that manages in the civilian world, like our expectations are a little higher than anybody else's would be.
Well, we had
And
more.
weird quirky personality traits. I would say is like that I know I developed in the Navy that I probably wouldn't have if I wouldn't have been.
Don't ever go away.
No, and I always get all the kids, and you know, there's that term: work smarter, not harder. You know, do it right the first time. You know, you have a question, just ask. You know, like I always tell the kids, do what you're supposed to do, be where you're supposed to be, and I will leave you alone. You don't, you will see the wrath.
All those little colloquial sayings we've got. You know, you're not early, you're late. Like that. I get it.
Mhm. And I think I also like in the civilian world. I have a weird story to go with it. Is the bond that we have with each other, even if we didn't serve with each other. I was a bartender for many years at the AMVETS, and we had my first ship was the USS Fife, and we had this old Marine that would come in, and his last name was Fife. So it was just kind of like this thing, and he would always call me Swabby. Hey, yo, Swabby, yo, Swabby, you know. And it was just a fun joke between the two of us, and this young guy was in there, not a veteran. He yelled across the bar, "Yo, Swabby!" And that Jimmy grabbed that little dude up and yoked him up and said, "What did you just say to her?" like, well, you called her that. No, you can't call her that, though. You know, like that kind of thing.
I know, I just had somebody pull up my house. Give me 1 second. I'll clip this out.
Okay. Absolutely.
Sorry about that. I can edit that. Okay. No big deal.
No, that's fine.
What were you saying?
it'd be just pretty much that. And then I think the other thing that I noticed, and I'm sure any other female veteran will say the same thing, is when you let somebody know that you're a veteran, they think that you're lying or that you're not. Like, I have Navy plates on my car, and I very
I'll let that.
I got a phone call. But like I parked at a veteran parking spot, and people will come and yell at me across the parking lot. You can't park there without your husband, or like even Veterans Day a couple years ago, we went out for dinner, and they were like, "It's for the veteran, not the wife." And I'm like, I am the veteran. Like recognizing that women are veterans too. That's the part that I think I struggle with the most. And I think any other female veteran will tell you the same thing. It's like we get overlooked. I mean, like my first ship, we had 120 or 420 people on board, and we only had 19 women. So it's that I think is like the hardest part.
I understand that.
Mhm.
I'm kind of shifting gears a little bit here. Were there any funny or lighthearted moments that still make you smile to this day?
Oh my gosh, yes. Um, we went bahaing in the desert of Bahrain, and afterwards we went and did like a traditional party afterwards, and like those kind of things, and just silly things that you do when you're deployed with your friends, and the memories you make going horseback riding in the Andes. Who can say that they just went horseback riding in the Andes or helped build an orphanage in Ecuador? You know, like those kind of fun moments, like that people forget that the Navy and other branches of the military as well, they do a lot of USO things and give back to the community and to the world, and those are the cool memories that I love.
Yeah. Humanitarian stuff too. We did a lot of
Yeah, humanitarian stuff.
That's what got me into doing disaster relief volunteering outside. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So we talked a little bit about like uh like how your career developed a little bit. How did the responsibilities specifically in your rate develop as you kind of climbed up the ranks?
It was just instead of being part of a team anymore, like having like a division or I was by myself a lot. I was the sole responsibility. Like it wasn't like a I had my senior chief who ran admin, but I only went to him to like double check my stuff, and then it was like then my admin officer, and then it was the chief of staff of the admiral. It was like I didn't have a lot of what other people in the Navy or other branches have. I didn't have like a team. It was me. It was me, and that was it. So
It wasn't
I
like
had to become
with like LPO,
yeah. No, nope. I didn't have an LPO. I it was me and my senior chief, and that was it. Like that was it.
I understand that.
I mean, as it changed, then when I went to like Navy Region Northwest, that was a little different. But then my last command, I did officer recruiting, so I did a lot of like going to colleges and talking to kids and stuff to join as an officer. And being enlisted, it's funny how most of the officer recruiters are actually enlisted. Yeah,
Same thing, isn't it?
you know.
Did you earn any awards or commendations that you're especially proud of? Not just the generic stuff. Cool.
Um, my comm that I got on my O5 deployment, it was kind of like it was kind of disastrous. So unfortunately, we had two pilots go down over Afghanistan on my deployment. So we obviously gave them posthumous awards, and we were doing all the air medals after that. And I did all the air medals. I'll tell you what, doing all the air medals for an entire strike group is a lot of work. And I kept looking at it, and there was something wrong, and kept going over it. And my senior kept looking at me, going, "What is the holdup?" I said, "There's something wrong with these forms. There's something wrong. There's something wrong." It took me about 2 days, and I went and pulled one of mine out of my records, and I went by it line by line, and we about put out 300 plus air medals posthumously because when CAG did their medals, they didn't. uncheck that box. So it was funny. My senior called down to CAG and said, who's flying these planes I hear landing on the deck? And he's like, the pilots. Why? And he goes, according to you, they're not even with us anymore. They're all getting these posthumously. So, I mean, I caught it, and even though they were getting mad because I was holding it up, it saved my admiral from looking like a dumbass by sending them to Fifth Fleet. So then I had to go to Fifth Fleet with the awards and help process them extra fast. And they gave me a spot comm for that, so
Nice.
I'm proud of that.
That's definitely cool.
You know.
So now we're shifting gears again, and this is going to be more of the transition out. So like I said, the first 2 or 3 questions are going to be just about the process of leaving the military and the struggles with that, and then we'll get on to the VA stuff a little bit later.
My transition out was difficult because I didn't get out because I wanted to get out. I got out. I got out because my youngest daughter passed away from cancer. And they were going to send me on an IA for 1.5 years to Afghanistan right after she passed away. And I said I couldn't do it. So they told me I had to get out. So I didn't get out because I wanted to get out. So, like, I felt like when I got out of the military, I lost everything all at once. I lost a child. I lost my self-identity. I lost my marriage too. Lost my career. I lost everything when I got out. So my transition out was really hard.
Yeah. Sorry for your loss, also.
Yeah. But yeah, I did the typical, but because I was stationed in Ohio, I wasn't anywhere near a base, so I had to go to Virginia, to Norfolk to do my TAPS. And then I had to come back, and then had to go do all my medical processing in Chicago and take care of all that. But then there was another issue that being a yeoman and knowing that you should be checking everything on that magical little piece of paper that we all get, that DD-214, there's 2 little boxes that are very critical, male and female. My first name's Cody. They put that I was a male. So getting out and trying to get any of my benefits was brutal because they kept saying, we need to talk to your husband. I said, well, I am Cody. I am. And trying to prove that. And then, of course, my medical records went to the wrong place because there's 2 places where medical records go, women's and men's. And when I finally decided to start doing the VA process, they just found my medical record. It took 7 years.
Yeah, that checks out. I still haven't gotten mine.
Yeah.
From my first one, I had a break in service. So when I got up 17, that medical record for the first 4.5 years I was in, somewhere in Millington. I don't know where.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand that.
Yeah.
Did they, and you don't have to answer it, was it like a forced retirement, medical retirement?
No, they I got an honorable, but they bought my contract from me. So they paid me, I think it was like 50% of what was left on my enlistment. Right. So, I mean, they didn't do me completely dirty. I mean, they paid me. I got out. Which was kind of nice because, it was abrupt. Like a lot of people when they get out of the military, they kind of have a little bit of a plan. I didn't have a plan because I wasn't planning to get out. Because when I was at NRD Ohio, I was actually on HUMS orders, humanitarian orders, because of my daughter. She had a very rare form of cancer and no military hospital would take her. So we had to put me somewhere where a hospital could take care of my kid. Right. And I just happened to be in Cleveland when we found out she was sick. So and my ex-husband was from here, and we just did the whole process, and I got rerouted to here, and I was actually getting ready to PCS back to Washington State, and they came and told me that my orders were canceled. I'm going on IA, and I'm like, no. And you know how hard it is being in the military. You don't ever say no. So when you have to say no, you feel like you're doing something wrong.
I understand that better than most. Yep. So getting out for you was especially fun because everything else was happening. I understand that. But if you were to kind of like down, how long did it take you to like readjust not only to all the hardship that had to deal with, which I'm sure took up a lot of your time when you're trying to.
Yeah, I went to school right away. I did a quick program because I with everything going on, I was gonna totally change my career path and be a nurse. So I did the pharmacy tech program. I did pharmacy for 7 years after I got out with every intention of becoming a nurse. But then I realized when I worked in the hospital, I couldn't do that. Like I thought I could, but I couldn't because I'm too much empathy. But then I got really involved in the AMVETS, and I was ran their bar, their canteen, did all that until I needed a break. But I mean, I have the pharmacy tech. I have a bachelor's in business. I run a multi-million-dollar auto spa now. So, so I mean, it took me a while. I thought, once I got out, it took me a couple years, and then I did join a veterans club. And I think once I did that, that helped. And I don't think people realize that, like, how much that can help, but also at the same time, how much it can also hinder. Because it's like, there are so many of us that are stuck and don't really want to get out of our shit. And then there are some of us that do. And it helped until it didn't. And then I recognize that. And it took me, I'm going to say probably a good 10 years to adjust properly. Yeah.
From the older generation of veterans, that's typically what I tend to find. It's somewhere between 10 and 15 years before they kind of readjust to being, in the real world again.
Yeah.
Moves to, kind of better themselves in the situation. So that's another tally mark.
Yeah, I'm going to say probably in the last 3 years, I've done the most self growth. Yeah, the last 3 years has probably been the best for me, emotionally, mentally, spiritually.
That's really good. You said you went to school as soon as you got out. What's the process been like for the VA specifically? Not really like the GI Bill side, but the healthcare and disability side of that.
Well, it was harder because first off, I was way older than everybody else in class, and so readjusting to that, and then being around young, naive people, that was hard. I mean, that's the part I think I struggled with the most, was being around people that just didn't understand. Even like my teacher and I kind of butted heads because it's like teaching calculations. Like, I'm really good at math, but our generation, we learn math completely different than they teach it now. So it was like I was doing it all, and then coming up, and she was like, "I don't understand your work," and I was like, "But I don't understand your work." Like, until you can show me why your way is better, I'm going to do it my way. And it took me a long time to get out of that mindset.
I understand that. Do you use your VA healthcare disability at all?
I am working on trying to get service connected so I can. The few times that I've gone, first off, they couldn't find my medical records. So then it was like the process just kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. And then when they finally found it, then it took them a while to even notify me that they'd found it. But there were a few times I went to go get like VA insurance, and it was, "Oh, you make too much money," or this or that. It was a struggle. I mean, I'm in the early process of restarting again. So hopefully, fingers crossed, now that it's been so many years, and the VA, from what I understand, is much better now than it was 10, 15 years ago. So
that was my next question. The older veterans often talk about like how bad the VA really was, especially, Desert Storm era. Apparently the VA was absolutely atrocious for those veterans. Yeah. And although there is so much room for improvement in the VA, do you feel like we are trending up, like it is getting better?
From what I understand from some of my other friends that I've served with, yes. Again, like, there's this trend that I've noticed with a lot of women that I've served with, that we have severe kidney problems now. I have one that has been on dialysis for probably about 8 years now, and another one that I went to boot camp with, A school with, served with for the first 4 years. She had to have a kidney transplant. My kidneys are failing. So it's like I need to get this process going. So because my health insurance on the civilian side sucks.
Yeah, I understand that.
I mean, I have a $7,200 deductible for myself on
Oh,
top of my premium. So, yeah,
that is
it
pretty
costs me
bad.
about $12,000 a year to get my benefits.
Are you working with a VSO at all?
I'm working with the Lake County Veteran Service Office. Yeah.
Okay, good.
I mean, they were amazing. Like when my kids were in school, and then here's something like as a mom, and a lot of men don't realize that they offer in places like that. I don't know about everywhere else, but like when my kids were in school, they would give me up to $150 a year in gift cards to go get school supplies and school clothes and stuff like that for my kids. You
That's
know, they don't like if you had a bad month or you got behind on your bills, if they will help pay for that. They will help get you back in the green. Um, the VSO is amazing, and that should be definitely something that every veteran, when they get out, every person should be shown where their nearest VSO is. Because I'll tell you, like in Ohio, my ex husband was from here. He had $2,000 because he joined the Navy out of Ohio and got out in Ohio. You know, so I didn't get that because I'm not from Ohio, but there are a lot of things that they can show you and guide you and give you advice and help you. And I've seen a lot of people use that. I mean, I know there was one year I think my ex husband's company shut down for a couple months, and we kind of got behind. And man, I'll tell you what, sucking up your pride and going and asking somebody for help is not the easiest thing in the world to do. So, yeah.
So this question is kind of off the books here a little bit, but I was talking to so I served from 2013 to 2024, so that's the era that I fell into, right?
Mhm.
Well, I got to catch the first time I got out on my break in service. I went through the old TAPS system. It was 5 days. It was in person stuff like that. The second time I
Yeah.
got out, it's 3 days. It's called TGPS now. It's 3 days and it's online. So they had TAPS,
Mhm.
obviously, right? So do you think that process helped you? Was there anything that you took away from TAPS, the old system, that kind of helped you? Did they talk about DSOs? Did they? That's not in any of the TVPS
They
systems.
did, but my problem was is I didn't get out anywhere near where I was going to be. So they couldn't.
You said you
I mean,
brought
I
some.
had to find out. Yeah, when I did the TAPS class, I did that in Virginia, and I was stationed and lived in Ohio. So it wasn't like they were giving me local information or things like that, but they did give us a guideline of like what to look for, where to go. You know, go take your DD 214 down to the county clerk's office and get it filed on. And you know, I wouldn't have known to do that unless TAPS class. And then also definitely get your DD 214 and like at one of the veterans clubs, because if for any reason like your house burns down, things like that, your your stuff's on file, and then you don't have to file for it and wait 15,000 years to get a copy of your DD 214 because you need it. Um, but yeah, I think that they taught us a lot. But then again, I got out in 2008, so that was a long time ago. I don't remember everything.
So TAPS
I do
didn't
remember the
change.
being in person around other people that were getting out and hearing other. What's that?
Oh, I was saying, TAPS didn't really change a whole lot until they went over to the TGPS, whatever they call it now. And I feel like
Uh,
I think we need to start addressing as veterans. We need to start addressing the fact that they took a lot of information out of TAPS because of COVID and all this other nonsense that
yeah.
was going on. And there are veterans getting out that are a lot less prepared than the people that went through TAPS. So that's the only reason I asked. It was an off the books question that I'm kind of working with.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing with an in-person TAPS class as well is you're around other people that are going through the same thing, having the same emotions, the same fears, the same, and you can kind of bounce ideas off of each other. Like, what's your plan? What do you think? Um, yeah, I don't know.
I remember those
I
conversations.
actually remember enjoying TAPS class because it was
Right.
it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of people, a lot of interaction, a lot of
That's what I
joking
was
and
saying. The smoke pit
yeah,
at the TAPS building that I went to, and I actually went to the same one that you did in Norfolk when I got out in
yeah,
2017. It's like the conversations and I still talk to a lot of the people that I went through my first TAPS with. I feel like they need to address this because
mhm,
I got so much more information the first time than I did with this TGPS nonsense we got now. So definitely,
Yeah, because if you're doing it online, you're less likely to actually pay attention because you're just skimming through it to try to get through it.
it's not even video. It's literally PowerPoint. It's death by PowerPoint, and you can click through it. I finished it in like 2 hours. It was complete trash. It was complete trash.
That's
I
nuts.
wasn't worried about it because I went through taps. I'd already processed out before, so I kind of had a handle on what to do.
Hmm.
I feel like just the stuff that I remember about the online TGPS thing, it was complete and utter bullshit. Excuse me, stupid thing.
Yeah. No, like I said, I got out back with the old TAPS class, so I don't know how to compare it. but but I do tell anybody that is ready to get out, make sure that you have a plan at least 6 months before you start processing out, because if you just abruptly get out, it's very overwhelming. It's spiritually, mentally, emotionally just overwhelming. It takes a toll on you because you're so used to everything being, you got your comrades, you got your housing allowance, you've got your family separation pay, you've got like all this stuff that you don't realize that you kind of take advantage of it in your mind because you forget that it's part of it, and you're like, okay, well my base pay is this. I can live off of making this. No, you've got to add your base pay plus this, plus how much now you're going to pay for medical. You've got to really, really, really think about all that stuff because people go, oh, well, I'm an E5. My base pay is $2,500 a month. But you also get $1,000 a month for BAH. You get $300 a month for comrades. Your medical insurance is paid for. You don't pay an electric bill. If you live in base housing, you don't pay for any of that stuff. So it's like, that's the thing that I think that really needs to be hit home when people get out is you can't just take a dollar amount that, yes, this is what my base pay is, and think that that's what you can go make and make the world turn right, because that's not how it works anymore. You just get so used to the things that are just always been that when you don't have it anymore, it's like, oh shit, now what?
And in PAPS and in TGPS too, they had you had to go talk to the ship's financial counselor or whatever, or
Mm-hmm.
the command counselor, and they do a budget. And they kind of break that down a little bit, but not to. I think you're right, not to the degree that they could. You know,
Yeah.
because it's so easy to forget like the stuff that we didn't have to pay for that we do have to pay for outside. I thought I got out the first time. I was like, oh, dude, I'm an E5, dude.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna be fine. It was not fine. If anybody was curious, it was not fine.
No, no,
It was,
no.
it was
It's a lot.
every night fine. That's what kind of fine it was.
Well, then you also got to think about it. Like if you've got kids and your kids go to the child development center, yeah, you're still paying for childcare, but you're not paying for childcare. You get out and it's like 5 times the amount to put your kids in childcare, and then it's all like, whoa. It's those kind of things that people need to be more prepared for when they get out, especially if they have a family, a young family. Because a lot of people get out after 4 or 5 years after their first tour, and they're just now starting off, and they've got a wife or a husband and small kids, and then they don't think about, wow, I can't just go to the doctor anytime I want and get a prescription and not cost me anything. I can't go through the drive-through pharmacy and go get a cold pack when I don't feel good. I can't just do that and it's free. It's those kind of things that you just I don't know.
You're the first like admin type that I've spoken
Mm-hmm.
to. I think this would be really good. Do you do any type of like speaking programs, or do you speak about this at all? Or
I used to a lot, like I said, when I was in the AMVETS. But again, like I said, that was also hard for me too because I was our only female veteran.
right.
And it was funny. I remember they asked me to run for office, and I was running for third vice. And I walk in as all these older guys, and the things that came out of their mouth. Oh, one of those, a woman that joined the military to, find a husband in this. And I remember our first vice looked at them all and said, "That girl right there outranks every fucking one of us, and her time in service is probably all of ours combined." So and it's like it was a struggle. And then like the ladies auxiliary hated me because I wasn't responsible for ladies auxiliary shit. It was a lot, and it got overwhelming really quick, and
So,
I had to step back.
particularly the VFW is going through a lot right now. Um,
Mhm.
there are a lot of posts that are really on the brink of closing because of really honestly, and I hate to do it, but it's the older generation service members, you know.
Mhm.
They want the VA, the VFW to be, just like it was before, where it's just a freaking bar. You sit in there and
Yep.
get drunk and smoke and whatever. And, a lot of veterans are kind of turning away from that. I think, our health is a lot more important because of the shit that we were exposed to, shit that's equally as dangerous as Agent Orange was. The burn pit
Mhm.
exposure thing, burn pit 360 is a huge thing, and it affects so many veterans, and nobody's really looking at it.
Well,
I
that
mean,
that stupid anthrax vaccination that they gave us when we were, I mean,
I brought that up earlier, actually. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think, and that's where they're kind of attributing a lot of this female veterans that were in during that era, that where a lot of the kidney stuff's coming from, is from that. They don't want to come out and say it yet, but, but
Nope.
yeah.
Definitely agree with that. But I do think that in the next few short years, we're going to see either a massive shift with these veteran organizations, or we're going to watch them all die.
Yep.
Personally, I don't care which at this point. It is a hassle. I'm a member of the VFW. I, I'm trying to work with the VFW to do this. I don't
Hmm.
need money from them. I need connections with veterans. I'm not a very social
Yeah.
person, so. But I think we're going to start seeing a lot more people talking about that. Because the American Legion kind of did a little bit of a shift. They got rid of the smoking
Yeah.
tobacco anymore. I think they either did or they're about to get rid of the alcohol. I'm not sure if that's already happened or
I know our Legion still has a canteen. Um,
yeah, I'm not sure about that one. I don't. I haven't had a very good. I don't have a very good rapport with the American Legion here. I do with other groups, but not particularly in Texarkana. So
well, when my kids were little, my kids were junior ambets. Like they were members of the juniors. They did like because they're the ladies, the sons, the socials, the juniors, and my kids used to do like a lot of like the big Memorial Day things. Like they go march in the parade and they do the wreath ceremonies and stuff like that. Because I wanted my kids to see what the military is all about. And I'll tell you, and the other thing is I think just in general, and I know this isn't a politics thing. I don't think that they're teaching kids properly about veterans, because I will my kids are older. My kids are grown up now, but remember my son was like 17, and it was like veterans right around Veterans Day, and one of his friends said, "I really think it's cool that your mom was in the military." And my son turned around and said, "I don't think it's fair that you don't have to do as many push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, or run as fast as I do to join the military." And I looked at him, I said, "Well, I'm a woman. I never claimed to be as strong as you." I said, "But if you want to go that route," I said, "I don't think it's fair that a woman has to score 60 on the ASVAB to join the military, and a man only has to score 30. I said, "So if you're going to counteract," I said, "know your facts. I don't have to be as strong as you, but I have to be twice as smart as you." And they forget that. Like they forget that kind of stuff. Like they just look at, "Oh, you don't have to be as strong. You don't have to do this." But there are other things I have to do to compensate for not being as strong or as fast as you. I'm 5'1". I can't. I'm not trying to go out there and dig trenches. There are jobs that anybody, man or woman, can do. And women do make better teachers. We have smaller hands. We can get into smaller spaces. There are reasons that women are now in the military. And they forget that.
you kind of touched on that topic a few times about the distinction between men and women in the military. Both of them count. If you had a way to like make it more fair or make it better, what would your solution be? If you were in charge of the recruiting side, like what would you change? What would you make better?
In reality, I don't know if I mean, women's weight standards, I might change a little bit, because women, we do birth children. Our bodies change. And if you're going to go to a body fat composition, do an actual body fat composition, not some weird tape measure shit where like, okay, great, I've got thick thighs and an ass, but now I got to have a neck that's 25 freaking inches around, you know? Just, um, but you know, it's funny because like a woman can have a baby and her body changes, but then you got these old crusty senior chiefs and master chiefs that can barely button up their trousers and they're still, you know, I know that there for a while after I got out, they were really cracking down on that, but
they
these unrealistic body standards are crazy.
I can agree to an extent. I'm glad that, especially in the Navy, the whole pot belly chief thing has kind of that era has passed.
Hmm.
I do agree. There are, and it's hard to talk about because it's a sensitive topic, particularly if you bring up anything regarding gender. So I I don't have any type of solution for the problem, but I can admit that there is a problem and it's on both sides. You know,
Hmm. Nope.
it's like I'm 6'3" and my max weight was 203 pounds. That's insane.
Hmm.
Like I know women's is way worse. You know,
When I joined, I had to get a height waiver because I hadn't hit 5 feet yet. My max weight was 101 pounds.
that's ridiculous. It's like I
At
don't.
5'1", my max weight was like 123 pounds.
It's like I think they need to focus more on you know negative weight versus positive weight. It's like I'm a big.
Yes, they need to really do a body fat composition, not because just because somebody like you can look at a guy. I had a guy in my command. He was a bodybuilder. He was solid, but he could never pass the weight. He was in better shape than anybody else, but he would always get. And even when they tape him off, they're like, "You barely made it. You barely made it. This guy's got 3% body fat. What are you talking about? Didn't make it, you know?"
It's always insane to me. Like the people that were taping me, it's like, son of a bitch, I'm in better shape than you. Like it's like I'm not fat,
Yeah.
I'm just bigger than you. You're 5'8". Your max weight's just 170 pounds. 5'8",
Yeah.
170 pounds. That sounds right. 6'3" at 203. That's pretty freaking thin, bro.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
skinny. That's too skinny.
that's pretty thin. I mean, I'm about at that right now, but I've been on a weight loss journey for the past 6 months. But my normal running weight's somewhere around 240, and I don't look big. I'm not fat.
My other half is 6'4" and weighs about 240. So trust me,
And
and he's not.
that's a pretty comfortable weight for somebody of that height. 6'3",
Yeah.
6'4", 230, 240. That's pretty good. I thought.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I don't think so. All right. Sorry, we got sidetracked a little bit there.
That's all right.
This is a good. We're gonna have to do this again. We're definitely gonna have to.
Absolutely. Yeah, Emo sent me this live earlier. That's when I jumped in when Tactical was in here. I've known those two for shit since I started my TikTok years and years and years ago. So it was kind of fun to sit and listen to him because I mean I've heard his story quite a few times. We used to all go live and talk about this stuff all the time, and it was great. And then everything kind of shifted and it stopped being fun.
Yeah, eventually you get to that point where, like, once all the new stuff and the fun stuff once those stories get told, all you're left with is kind of the bad times. And I try not to focus on the bad times. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, there's some questions in here that are a little touchy. And I think people need to see that. Um, so this next section is kind of just, I mean, we've kind of gone through it already as far as like work, education, stuff like that. So basically, the last question besides, um, I'm going to turn the floor over to you at the very end for your outro. The last question really, how do you think the service shaped you into the person that you are today?
What makes me the person I am today?
How did the service shape you into the person you are today?
This service. I grew up in a I grew up in a tiny little town in the middle of nowhere, mountains, Montana, where the nearest Walmart was 100 miles away. And it was very like close-minded. It was about 2,000 people. I grew up in my dad's body shop. I knew I had to leave. I knew I wouldn't thrive there. So I left. And I think during my journey, I learned a lot about myself, like who I wanted to be, what I wanted to be. And unfortunately, like that all changed at the end of my career when my life just imploded on myself. But I think that even though I struggled really hard I think that I came out okay because of the military and a lot of my veteran support group. And it was funny because I was just going through my Facebook today, and I'm Facebook friends with 17 people I went to boot camp with in 1999. I'm friends with more people I went to boot camp with than I went to high school with.
Same.
Like, and that's so weird to think. Like, I haven't seen these people in. We went through the hardest time of our life going through that boot camp, and we just, as Facebook and stuff, we all found each other. It was funny, and I don't know. I think my empathy for people, even though sometimes I hate having empathy for people, I like sympathy for people, but the empathy part, when it comes to other veterans, like, ugh, sometimes you hear their story and it just like, ugh, punches you in the gut.
Empathy is
I think I think the Navy also taught me how to regulate when I can't regulate my own emotions, if that makes sense. Like, it could be a really bad thing, but it taught me how to turn off my emotions so I can adjust through times when instead of being overly emotional about it, I can take a step back and like just, I don't know, soldier through it, as they say, and then come back afterwards so that I don't come across and I don't know, like I don't blow up or do something stupid when I shouldn't. I get through the moment and then I go home, and then in private, that's when I kind of have my moments.
that
I don't
ability
know.
is something that's central to the service, in my opinion. You can't go overseas and do your job if you can't disconnect from your family back home. The problem is it's a really slippery slope. It's
It's
dangerous
hard to reconnect when you come home, though. That's the problem.
in a lot
And
of ways.
and I know that that's a big struggle with men, but as a woman and a mother trying to come home and reconnect when like I said, when I came home, my oldest had just had her first birthday. She she didn't want nothing to do with me, like nothing. And I struggled with that. Like I had to tell myself, even though I missed her, she doesn't remember me. She doesn't remember me. It's okay. And then every time I had to leave my kids, coming home and trying to reconnect with them was not the easiest thing in the world to do. It taught me patience, I guess. Patience with myself too. It's okay to struggle through times. Just don't let yourself stay there.
It's difficult to do. Like, have
Yeah.
patience with yourself. Because, patience isn't something that we're known for as far as service members go. Like, we're go, 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 right now, now, now. Make this happen.
Mm.
You don't have a choice. So I definitely understand that.
Yeah, learning how to have good patience was not easy. And I also learned that like with my new job, like taking over and running this, I work with a lot of kids, high school kids, and that's never been something I did. Like even in the military, they even when we were all young in 19, 18, 19, we were still kids, but we weren't kids anymore. Like that was all gone. Like we went through boot camp, we all were reprogrammed to be what we were supposed to be. So it's like I have to learn sometimes that these are just high school kids and I gotta, I can't expect them to meet my expectations. So I had to learn how to lower my expectations without lowering my expectations. I had to find a different route of getting what I needed out of them without coming across like a drill sergeant. Like
Right.
that's where sometimes I still struggle with that. Like I'm way better about it now than I was even a year ago, but just readapting and readjusting the way that you think and the way that you expect things and what you expect of people. And that's the other thing is I've learned don't expect anything from anybody anymore.
Right. Well, you can lower your expectations without lowering your standards. And I think that's something
Yes.
kind of come to terms with as veterans. That's
Hmm.
universal for all of us, I think. All right. So the
And
last
it's
question.
funny because like my kids even wear a uniform, and I'm literally because we wear a mechanic shirt or khaki pants. You've got to have a belt on, your name tag, your badge, or this. And when the kids come in, I'm looking at them, or the one kid he always comes in looking like a sloppy mess. I'm like, go fix yourself. Go fix yourself. Where's your belt? And it's like the stupidest things. Like, where's your belt? Like
Big line.
uniform, uniform, uniform. I don't know.
All right. So the last question is: do you have any advice or things that you think either new veterans or people processing out, or even somebody coming in, if you could give like universal advice to service members in general, what would it be?
I'm going to start with going in. Do your research. Know what you want. Know what it is that you are looking to get out of it. Like I have talked to many young kids that say, "Oh, I'm joining the Army," and I'm like, "Why the Army?" "Well, I want to see the world." "Well, are you really going to see the world in the Army? What do you like? If you want to see the world, go to the Navy." "Well, I don't like water." "Okay, well then that doesn't work." But you're people like, "Oh, I'm going to go see the world." No, in some of these branches, in certain time frames of what's going on in the world, you're not going to see the world. You're going to see one place. You want to see the world, or it's family tradition. Okay, I respect family tradition all day long. You do that if that's the reason, but know your why. Know what you want to do. Don't settle. Like I remember when I was going to MEPS, I knew exactly what I wanted. I wanted to be a yeoman because initially I was going to transition over to be a legalman, and you can't join the Navy as a legalman. You have to cross-rate. The best way to do that is from yeoman. I never did that, but they kept saying, "Well, we can't get you into yeoman A school. We can't get you into yeoman A school, but we've got this other thing called the apprenticeship." Don't. Know what you want and stick to it. And if they can't give you what you want, don't do it. And the same thing, like, I don't know, you're in the Navy, you filled out a dream sheet in A school, right? So my dream sheet said Washington State, Washington State, Washington State, Washington State, and they sent me to Washington, D.C. And then when I didn't go there, they said, "You're going to Norfolk." Be clear, because Washington State and Washington, D.C. are two totally different sides of the country and two totally different monsters. But I did end up in Washington State. That's where I did all of my sea duty was in Washington State. So
I got my
know what you want. Have a plan when you get out. Have a plan, like really think. And if you're married and have a spouse, really sit down with your partner and find out what their expectations are. Because I don't think a lot of people realize that when they get out, divorce follows pretty quick behind. Because first off, you're not used to being home with your family all the time, and they're not used to you being home all the time. So have a plan, work it out, talk about it. Maybe go get some marriage counseling prior to you getting out and making sure that you guys are ready for this individually and as a couple.
1,000%.
Because people don't realize that you've been gone 50% of your marriage, and now all of a sudden you're home all the time. And now you don't really have a purpose. You're still a little floundering in the water. You don't know what you want. You have expectations that are never going to get met right off the hop. And then now you're usually leads to drinking and alcohol and other things and fighting. And you don't want that. You want to be ready. You want to be as ready as you can. I know not everybody has that option to just know that they're getting out right away. I wish I would have. I wish I would have had a game plan. I wish I would have. Sorry. That's my other half right there. But yeah, having a game plan is probably my best advice, is knowing what you want and what you expect, and having some kind of a, maybe I need to boop her. But yeah, I think that's the best advice I could give, is have a plan, literally sit down, know what you want, know what your family needs, what the expectations are. That's probably my best advice.
I love it. Well said. So that's kind of the end of my question set. I do have a little spiel before you go. I tell this to everybody. Don't call me first, call me last. 22-day thing I was talking about. Where others, I will not. So if you have anybody that's struggling, if you're struggling yourself, call me, call 988, just call. So that's my 22-day spiel. Thank you so much. You're more than welcome to stick around. We don't have anybody in the queue, so we're gonna open the box back up, and it's gonna kind of be like a regular live.
So I'm gonna probably jump off and give him a quick call, because he called when I was in the middle of this. So all right. Well, thank you. This was fun.
Thank you for your service. Happy Veterans Day.
You too. Thank you. Bye.